Hey, welcome. My name's Callan, and you've just stumbled on to episode 3 of the Internet Marketing and Entrepreneurship Podcast. Tonight's episode is called Sushi in the Dark, and we're going to explain how failing to be prepared is just like trying to eat sushi in the dark. Stay tuned. Hey, how's it going? So thanks for sticking around for episode 3 we're calling Sushi in the Dark. Now, you might be thinking to yourself that this is kind of a strange name for an episode, and I'd be inclined to agree with you if it wasn't for the story that I'm about to tell you right now. So, the other night, I have to make a run out, middle of the night, to go get dog food and a couple last-minute groceries. So, I hop in the car, I hit Tractor Supply because they're the place that has the dog food we buy. Pick it up, run across the street to Meijer, which it's if you don't know what Meijer is or you don't have one, it's kind of like a Walmart, but it's more of a regional type thing. It's like Michigan, some of the Midwest, and some of the other stuff in there. But anyway, I run into Meijer and I grab a couple of groceries, get some milk, and I'm walking through the store and I'm walking past the deli counter and just, sushi's on sale. It's like $4.99 for a whole roll of crispy crab salad sushi, right? So I'm thinking, oh, that sounds amazing. I don't normally get it, so I'm going to eat this thing on the way home. So I pick it up, put it in the cart, check out, get to the delicious. So I'm enjoying it, and now it's pitch black, right? So all I can see is what my headlights are lighting up on the road and some stuff in the street lights. And I go and grab another piece of sushi, and I immediately know that there's something wrong. This is not what sushi tastes like. Well, it turns out, hunting around in the dark, some of the sushi had already been falling apart, and I thought I was grabbing some of the parts from the last bit of sushi that I had. Well, instead I grabbed the whole glob of wasabi. Now, I like wasabi, but I don't eat it by the spoonful, and I'm certainly not going to like it just being sprung on me when I'm expecting this nice sweet crab with a little bit of crunchiness and a little bit of onion flavor, and then just BAM! Mouth just on fire, right? That strong wasabi mustard flavor, that like ginger-like flavor. If you've never had it before, it think of like horseradish on steroids. It's ridiculous. I'm having trouble breathing. It's making me cough. My eyes are watering. I'm doing 50 miles an hour in the dark, and I'm barely holding it together, right? So I'm holding on to my sushi with one hand, and I've got a knee pinned onto the steering wheel, and I'm trying to grab a drink. I'm trying to drink. I'm coughing, spitting energy drink all over the dashboard. Like it was a mess, right? And why am I telling you this story? Well, other than it's kind of just a ridiculous thing that happened to me. It's kind of fun to share, but I really think that that's kind of how a lot of times that we approach business and sales, right? We sort of get half a plan put together. I had planned to just eat the sushi on the way home, and that was it. Everything else I just sort of did along the ride. Yeah, I didn't have planned out, how to grab the sushi or how I was going to manage the sushi and the steering wheel and everything else. Certainly didn't account for eating the entire glob of wasabi. But we do that in business, right? We say, I'm going to do this thing, and then we immediately set off. We start doing it, right? We take this idea that we have or this product that we're getting ready, and then we just full throttle, reacting to just everything as it goes, right? You've got to talk to somebody. Okay, I don't have a pitch. I'll figure it out on the phone. I don't have any clients. We're just going to stop at this random list of people. We're gonna cold stop and just see what happens. We're going to throw up this website. We don't have any plan to get traffic to it. And traffic's not coming, so now we need a plan to get traffic. We start out these ideas with great intentions, right? But then they're kind of half baked. They're not thought through. They're not planned. And then we find out part way along the way, just like eating the wasabi, that we're not equipped to be able to handle some of the things that came our way that we didn't expect because maybe we didn't research it well enough. We don't have the experience to be able to tell that was something that maybe was going to happen. There's a lot of reasons that something, some curveball could be thrown completely out of the left field, and we're just completely unequipped to be able to deal with it. So I guess the reason that I'm telling you this story is we need to step back away from our businesses and away from the projects that we have undertaken. We need to step back from the sales that we're attempting to make and actually put a plan together in place to move forward in order for this to be successful. We need to think about the things that are going to come up, right? You go into a sales presentation, instead of going in half blind and just reacting to things on the fly and just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Have a plan put together. What type of objections are going to come up? What are some reasons somebody would not want to buy this, even though maybe it's just the right thing to solve their problem? What are some false beliefs or some misconceptions that we have around the notion of the product or the service, or even our ability to deliver? We believe that we can pretty much do anything, but customers don't always believe that, right? They say, wow, there's just no way I believe this guy in front of me is going to be able to deliver these results. And we need a way to be able to overcome those objections or they're going to walk. But what we tend to do then is we walk into selling trying to overcome objections as they come up. And we're being reactive to them instead of proactive. And then it just seems like we're trying to do a lot of work convincing someone. And we start trying to sell them based on logic. But we know that out of all of the motivations that there are to make a purchase, logic isn't actually a motivation for purchasing, right? Logic is justification for the decision to make the purchase. We decide to purchase based solely on emotion. So unless you have a plan to put together and evoke that emotion, you're not going to be able to sell. People don't buy it. There's just no reason somebody's going to logically go, yeah, I think it makes sense to make this purchase. People don't buy the features and the benefit of a product. They don't necessarily even buy the benefits of the product. They buy the byproducts of that, right? How does this product make them feel? How does this service make them feel? Is this product solving a problem that's really painful for them and is going to change the way they feel about that situation by removing the situation, changing the problem, or being able to handle the problem so they don't have to actually deal with it? It's a really big deal. So when you're approaching your clients, trying to determine whether the product you have or which product you have is a good fit for them, there's a few techniques that you can use if you pre-plan what's going to happen. Some of those is we want to control a prospect's emotional state through storytelling. If we tell a story that conveys a similar situation or an issue and a resolution, where they can almost directly draw the conclusion that your product is the right thing to do that without you telling them. Because if it's your idea, you're into convincing. But if it's their idea, that's an emotional response to the story that they're being told. And now, I'm not saying to go tell somebody false stories. Absolutely make them real stories from your experiences or another client's experience. That's one of the reasons testimonials are so powerful, right? This regular everyday person that they may or may not know had this issue. You presented the product, that your product solved this issue in this way, and they achieved the expected result that they're expecting for this other person. So when you tell these stories, or you tell your own anecdotal story, I guess you could say, where you had this problem and you started experiencing it, um, and the experience was solved through the use of the specific product that you're pitching or selling, there becomes a lot more believability in the sales process. You're now not necessarily needing to convince them. Your job at that point, once they've come up with the conclusion emotionally that your product is right to solve their problem, and it's your product is what they want to move forward with, is to help them logically reconcile that it makes sense to do that. There's a lot of different ways of getting about there. I think we could probably spend a whole other episode on helping somebody draw logical conclusions, but there's a ton of ways. You can go straightforward, value-based, break it down. You can come in a roundabout way. There's creative ways of being able to do it where they don't seem like they're leading to anywhere, and then just bam, they've sold the logical value. It has reconciled with their emotional value, and they're ready to open their wallets and make that purchase. Definitely being ethical about it is absolutely a must, because you certainly don't want to sell people things that they don't need and they can't afford. You want your clients to be happy and come back to you time after time and again and continue to make those purchases with you. But we need to step away from eating sushi in the dark and move into having a plan to attack that sushi. Shine a little light on it so we know exactly what we're getting. So we know every time that we take a bite, we've expected it, and we've ended up with sushi, and we haven't just grabbed the whole glob of wasabi. So I hope you've kind of taken some information away from this fairly short podcast episode for today. But I think it was strong enough that this needed to stand on its own by itself. If you think this episode has helped you, or I've given you any value at all in this episode or previous episodes, please don't hesitate to share the podcast link with a friend. We've also got a Facebook group that you can join, the Internet Marketing and Entrepreneurship Facebook group. You can find that through the Facebook link that'll be linked in show notes. But you'll be able to network with other entrepreneurs that have similar interests. Everybody is wanting to succeed and willing to help each other. It's also a great place to find out about new episodes of the podcast, the video podcast if you're listening, or the audio podcast if you're watching. There's also article transcriptions of all of my information that hit the web. So please spread the word, help us grow this community, help us drive real value, and make a community where all of us can succeed. As always, I'll see you guys next time.